Hello dancers, this video you are watching today is especially for ballet teachers and ballet or dance school owners because I'm working as a consultant also for ballet teachers and school owners, and today in this video I would like to discuss with you a plan to get your studio or your school back running. Because obviously since the beginning of March or maybe even February, this pandemic really shook up our lives, and the whole world was on lockdown. Well, I'm in the Netherlands, and now we're getting there that the lockdown will be released gently in phases. And obviously because dance is a lot of people in one space moving together, getting sweaty, aerosols in the air. Unfortunately, we are one of the last ones who are allowed to get back working, which sucks. So obviously we cannot open yet, but it is very sensible to put everything down on a list and make up a plan, make a protocol, make procedures, so that whenever we get permission, we are ready to start. Okay, without further ado, let's do point number 1. Okay, so you're going to make a list, inventory of all the classes you have up till now. Everything. I'm gonna write it down. Maybe you already have the inventory list. That is awesome. If you don't, this is step 1. You need to have clear on paper, on your computer, to see, not only in your head, in your mind, to see what you are doing and with whom. So write down every class you are teaching, and then also write down after that who is your teacher, who is teaching it, and what you are doing right now, in the sense that are they getting video material to see for themselves? Are they getting Zoom classes? Write everything down. Then, for example, maybe you are giving Zoom classes live from your studio to your adults ballet, or maybe to your teenagers urban dance, just to say something. Yeah, make everything clear, that so you can write down the next step, and that is when you are allowed to open, which groups are you allowed to invite over to your studio. When you have a class, toddlers together, dancing together with adults, with maybe the grandparents even, these are classes you cannot do yet. Well, at least not in the Netherlands. And I can imagine that in other countries it will be the same, because obviously the elderly are a risk group. So then you need to figure out if you want to continue giving those groups the video material pre-recorded, or if you just want to make a timeout for your customers for those toddler lessons, and then come back in a few months when everything has started running again. Alright, step 2. Step 2, you're going to draw your room, your space, your dance space on a piece of paper. And then you're going to draw on it. You're going to divide it into spaces. So here in the Netherlands is 1.5 meters from each other when we are walking outside, but we have regulations that you at least have to have 10 square meters per person around you. And maybe you had classes where you had 10 to 12 people in, and now you can only fit 5. Yeah, okay. But that will be a discussion for another time. We can talk about that another time, what you're gonna do. Yeah. So for now, just make a... Wait, I'll show you. Then it would be something like this. So you can see that I drew some extra stuff here on. Okay, so you can draw on your sanitation stations. So where you're gonna keep extra sanitation gel. Where are you going to keep your shoes from the students, the bags? Yeah, you need to start figuring out, making procedures for how you're going to put everything into your space. Okay, you need to draw lines on the floor and let grocery shops, let that be an inspiration for you, because people obviously would be used to that. So draw lines on the floor, sticker them, put up posters, put up directions how they have to walk, so groups don't meet each other. You can find those stickers and everything you need at office supply shops. If you don't want to make them yourself, or you're like, well, how am I going to do that? They're all for sale, of course. If you have 2 entrances for your space, that would be awesome. That would be great, because then you can fill in it. They come at one entrance and they go away, go home at the other. You might need to have some extra help as well. So maybe if you're used to teaching by yourself, then maybe you need someone else to be there too, especially when you're starting again, to help your parents and your children with all the procedures. Meaning somebody at the door to receive the child, no parents allowed inside. You're going to close off your foyer if you have that. You're going to close off your dressing rooms, and obviously there will be no showering, and every student needs to come to the class already in their dress wear and in their leotards, in their suitable attire for class. So parent is gonna come. They're gonna let the child out at the door. The child will be received by one of the teachers or assistants or somebody else who works there. Coming back in, you need a designated area to put down the bags and the shoes. Then going back into the studio, then you need to instruct the student to go sit down in a square. Yeah, this is reality, people. Now, before they go sit down in their little square, you can also ask them to wash their hands or take a little bit of the hygienic fluid for their hands again. Yeah? Alright. Toilet breaks. Well, obviously it would be best if the students don't take a toilet break at all at your facility, that you can just close it down. Yeah, but realistically, especially when you're working with smaller children, maybe it's necessary. They can't hold it up very long, they need to go to the toilet. If you have any areas in your dance school, in your studio, where people would come together and be social together, you need to close that off. You need to close it off to not give them the opportunity to stay there and stand there and be social and form a group. Then you need to see if your schedule is still in order, because obviously in between classes you need to clean everything. You need to wipe down the bars, you need to wipe down the doorknobs, you need to wipe down the toilets if they were used, and students from one group have to go out and they're going to go via the other way, but in an orderly way, which takes time, of course, and they have to be supervised. And on the other way, new students are coming in, which need to be in an orderly fashion, be supervised. Coming back in, they need to put their stuff down, their bags, everything, their shoes, wash their hands, get ready, get into the studio, and sit down at the square until they can start a new class. So logically that will take 5 to 10 minutes extra. So see to it that you need that time into your itinerary, into your schedule. Then it is also important, because I've seen that colleagues now just cut 5 to 10 minutes off the normal class, but if I think of the customers, maybe you would get some customers who would be like, I'm paying for 60 minutes of dance and now I get 50 minutes because we're working on procedures and protocols. Why do I have to pay for 60? Yeah, well, there's something to think about, because then again, that's another discussion. Should you raise your prices? Yes, no. Lower the prices because they're 50 minutes instead of 60? I don't think so. All right, we'll talk about that another time. Think about it. I think that these new procedures and these new scheduling, you cannot do it on your own. I have my own studio for 14 years, and in the beginning I did everything on my own. It was a tight studio, 85 square meters, and especially when you would switch from class to class, it would be full in the foyer. It was so full and so noisy and so many people and so much litter. I was then happy that later on I got some teachers, and when they were teaching I could clean to make everything a little bit more presentable for the next group, you know. So now with these new protocols, you really need to have an extra pair of hands. Oh, and yes, that is also a point for discussion, but I think it would be good. Think about it again. You do whatever you think is best, but it would be best if the teachers and the assistant would wear masks. It might be good to keep it optional for your customers, but maybe mandatory for your teachers. Think about it. Discuss. Whatever you think is best. Alright. The teacher also needs a designated area to be able to switch her shoes, leave enough room for her or him to go to the music installation, that they're not close to students, and a little place to sit down when they have their break. Right? So think about that too. Okay, point 3, step 3. Every country has its own regulations. Here in the Netherlands we have the RIVM. We have to abide by their guide rules, and step number 3 is to write your own protocol, your own list of procedures, which we already started with step 1 and step 2, right? So from the government you have the set of rules, right? And then you're going to work down. You're going to see what is allowed from the rules from your province, and then you're going to go down to see the rules from your city. You are going to contact the person who is in charge of cultural and sports activities in your city, and you're going to, on the phone preferably, also an email, but on the phone preferably, so you'll hear each other's voice. And you're going to introduce yourself. Say, I want to open up for dance schools. I have written a procedure, and what can I do? What am I allowed to do? You will see that that person will be very enthusiastic and will be very happy to have met you, because you are assertive and you are an entrepreneur, and it shows that you want to get back. And you're thinking about safety and the health of your students. If you already have very good connection in the political scene in your city, that is awesome, that's great, use them. Here in the Netherlands we are in a weird kind of in-between space, because sports outside are allowed, so you see a lot of colleagues teaching dance classes outside right now. And they could not do that without full cooperation of their own city council. Next step, I've already said a little bit about your schedule. So let's get back to that, because not only the schedule with 10 and 5 minutes extra. But you can also look into your monthly schedule, because you've missed 2 months, maybe 3 months of teaching and revenue. Well, in the summer months, it appears that everybody is still at home because, yeah, we cannot travel anywhere, no airplanes yet, nobody can go on a train, except for people who really need to get a train for their work, which of course we all understand. But take that to your advantage, because your customer will not go on a vacation. You are not gonna go on vacation, so you can continue to teach in July and August. So maybe you were used to closing down in July and August, or doing a summer camp or a short summer project. Now you can continue to offer classes. Maybe make some extra revenue. Yeah, see into it, look into it. Next step is to really talk to your teachers. Did you communicate with your teachers? Yeah? You need to, because they also are scared, they're confused, they have emotions as well, and you really need to get them involved into the planning of getting back into the studio. Maybe you also have a teacher who will be afraid to get back. Then you can discuss and offer that teacher that maybe she would continue her lessons from her home via Zoom. And then from the practical point of view, it's also almost the end of the season, so you would need to have a new contract. Just put everything down on paper. You already have the basis for that, because it was step 1 and step 2. So you have a very good, clear understanding and a very clear overview of what you are doing and who is doing what. So discuss it with the teacher and get it on paper, how many hours, what you're going to do, what you're going to offer. Do this, because otherwise you will have nasty surprises. Next is you need to cover yourself legally, which means that you need to put down an extra line by line on your COVID-19 regulations and procedures on your website, maybe also on your social media, your Facebook page. There is a little link there to privacy, so maybe put down there as well the procedures for hygiene and health. Right, and you need to give those protocols out to your students and to the parents. Really give them out, give your procedures, everything line after line, because God forbid somebody would get ill, get sick, and then they will come back to you, to your studio, and say they got sick at your studio. Yeah, I know. You don't want that liability, you don't want that no. So cover yourself legally. Hang posters everywhere in your studio. Hang posters. Put it on your social media. Send it out to your students, to the parents. And don't send it once. Send it again and again and again and again. So they cannot tell you that they didn't receive it. And from that, you have a great segue to the next, and that is communicate with your customer. Always very, very important, especially in this time when we cannot be together. Keep in contact with your customers. You're already doing that with your Zoom online classes? Excellent, that is good. But did you also think about when you got a message from parents telling that they don't want to continue dance classes, that you just phone them, ask them how they're doing, this is a difficult period, did you understand, ask them if you could talk to them, and you will see that 9 out of 10 times that there will be a personal story, and maybe they have to get a break because they lost their jobs or something, you don't know. And yeah, you can keep the relationship with the customer for a little point in the year. So write emails, post on social media. There were some colleagues as well who sent postcards. It made the students really happy. So I think we've come a long way. So let's review real quickly. All right, I have them here as well. Okay, so 1 was make an inventory of every class you have. Yeah, inventory the classes, teachers, everything. And what and who and what are you getting now and what do you want to offer them in the future. All right, then draw your space on a piece of paper, make squares, make stations for your sanitary pumps, everything. All right, draw your foyer, draw your spaces. Here are they coming out, in, here they're coming in, here they're coming out, space for the shoes, everything. Okay, then see if you need to buy some stickers, some posters. Yeah, Google office supply stores will have them definitely. Something like this. And then write your own protocol, be ready, communicate with your city council and the right person, your city council member with arts and sports. Do this. Then think about your schedule, 5 to 10 minutes extra for cleaning, and see if you can prolong your schedule for in the summer months. All right, talk to your teachers, communicate with your customers. That's it, that's all. All right, on the one hand it seems a lot of work, but on the other hand, when you start, everything will reveal itself. Right, if you need a little bit of help, don't hesitate to send me a message, and I will be spar along with you. I will help you along if you need. If you don't and you're fine, you're good to go, then I applaud you. Good. And I'm wishing you all the best. And good luck. Stay healthy. Bye.